Thanks for joining the Dating with Katy podcast. Today's big topic, and I'm talking big, is once a cheater, always a cheater? Add a question mark. So today I'm making that a question, not a statement, because many of you will say, once a cheater, always a cheater, exclamation point. So I'm going to talk about cheating today. I'm going to talk about being cheated on. I'm going to talk about cheating, and I'm going to talk about when and where and how do we bring it up in dating. Well, I hope you guys have been subscribing to the podcast, making sure you're getting the weekly video or audio or however you're listening. It doesn't even matter. Just make sure you're listening. Make sure you're sending this to your single friends. Make sure you've taken a second to get in my database. Right now, I have amazing clients. And if you know anything, and you followed me long enough, you know they're 20%ers. And 20%ers are people who are cool. That means they've done a lot of cool things in life and they do cool things. So they want to be around people who do more cool things. They're quality. They have standards. They have the core values that I speak of often in my podcasts. And they're actually looking for a long-term relationship. They're just not here to have fun. They're here to actually dig deep with somebody. Now, you guys know my podcasts are typically for the first phases of dating, right? For how to get a first date, how to get a second date, and then, 3 dates, 3 weeks, and 3 months into dating. Today is going to be a topic that covers anywhere, any part of any relationship, because cheating can go in at any time. All right, I've got a lot of points on here, so if I look down, if you're watching this, please, don't be offended. I want to make sure I hit all my points. And also, I actually just recorded this, minus my microphone being plugged in, and I have to tell you that when I shared something very special to me, very, I guess, deep, I cried, and so I look a little, I look a little shiny. Or teary-eyed from that because it was, I'll share it again on this podcast since I got to redo it. It's a tough topic. Cheating is never an easy thing to talk about, but let's believe that once a cheater, always a cheater is not a truth. Okay, well, let's talk about cheating to start. I believe, and I was Googling it and someone wrote, it's an intimacy disorder. Now, I want to say that it's an outcome of an intimacy disorder because I believe it's a choice. Choosing to cheat is a fully functional, rational choice that somebody does, unless they're totally drugged out, and that's some serious seek help, which I'm not about. But I'm about making those better decisions for quality relationships. So, anytime that someone has cheated, been a part of cheating, and cheated in any way, and you really need to define what cheating looks like to you. It could be having multiple texts for multiple weeks with a guy from the office, and they're intimate, and you're sharing stories, and you're sharing your day with them, even though you're in a relationship with someone who you're committed to. That could be cheating. I can tell you this, that's definitely the start of cheating. That's going to get bigger. So you need to be really mindful of building that boundary between your partner and you and how you guys are going to do whatever it takes to keep it tight, to keep it between the two of you. I believe it's Pence, Vice President Pence used to only go on lunch dates with women if his wife would come. And that is genius. That is what more men need to be doing to make sure that nothing is ever, one, ill-spoken of, because a woman could create some sort of lie or distortion of something that happened at the lunch date. But it's also just a way to bring your wife in, to bring your woman in, and to create a safe space, a boundary of other people from the outside, because we know the world is not living well. They're all about cheating. They're all about, there's songs about cheating. Everything in society is telling us it's okay to cheat. We've got music galore. We've got movies. They make it look fun. And sure, it's probably feels fun for a season, but like I always told my kids, every choice you make has a consequence or a blessing. So which one do you want? And sure, there might be some sort of blessing in cheating. I get that. Maybe, God still works all things together for good. But I can tell you this, there will be a consequence if you cheat. Hands down, at some point in some stage, there will be a consequence. And even if that consequence is just your deep inner struggle and that sinful nature, it'll just grow. So that consequence is just going to compound, and you're going to, start making, you make one bad choice, it's easier to make a second bad choice. So we don't need to be listening to what society has to say. As a matter of fact, today is, the Chiefs game versus the Ravens. By the way, go Ravens. Old client of mine, he helps make all the choices for the drafts. He's a stud. I'm rooting for the Ravens. And I can tell you one of the reasons why I don't like the Chiefs is because I'm not a big Taylor Swift fan. That girl has got a messy dating life. She sings terrible songs about bad and poor relationships. If your daughter listens to Taylor, drop it. Find quality people that you want to emulate, that you want to follow after. So for example, I don't look to the world for quality relationship advice. The Gothlards are great because they're married and they're doing such great things in the relationship world. But I can tell you this, that my pastor, Keith Kraft at Elevate Life Church, loves his wife. And that is somebody that I'm going to follow because I want what they have. They've been doing it right for decades. He's got no scandal. He still loves his pastor Precious. He calls her Precious. He counts the months that they've been together. And he is a movement. He's a force for men to see how to love their wives. Every week Sunday at church, he says something to the men about loving their wives. So I appreciate you, Pastor. You guys are a couple that I want people to follow. Check him out, Elevate Life, Pastor Keith Kraft and his amazing wife. So again, don't listen to society. Listen to the quality people who are doing it right and doing it well. And I hope I'm one of those for you. I hope that you're going to see my husband and I just growing in the midst of the truth and the authenticity of the reality of relationships because they're not always easy. So let's move on. The world also says, because I Googled this, once a cheater, always a cheater. Go Google it. See what the world has to say about it. And of course, the statistics say that people who've cheated are 3 times as likely to do it again. Well, let me give you some hope that if you were the cheater or if you've been with someone who's cheated and you still believe that that's not you, it's not. You do not have to believe that about yourself. I believe God creates us as new creations, that we do not need to look back, that we are moving forward. So if you were a cheater, or even if you got cheated on, you don't need to choose that again. Another hard thing about cheating in this day and age is that it's just way easier. There are way too many apps and options that make cheating easy, which I hate to say it, but it's demonic. It's of the devil because the devil just wants to steal, kill, and destroy. So whether you believe in that or not, you got to understand there are spiritual forces that are not working on your side. They're working against you. And sadly, the options, the availability, and the secrecy is out there. Once you become a cheater, it's also hard to kind of get rid of the names you've been given. People told you you're a liar and you're a fake and you're a traitor. And there's a lot of shame to being a cheater if you've been the cheater. And there's a lot of shame if you were cheated on. You weren't good enough. It was their issue. You weren't pretty enough. Whatever the lies that you're telling yourself or that even the others are telling you, you've got to stop that thinking. You've actually got to take it captive and believe something bigger. So I can tell you this, that I know for me, when I'm believing something that is not truth, I go to the Bible and I find what the Bible says about it and I put that to my mind because your heart is deceiving. Let's be honest, if you cheated, it's because you trusted your heart. Like, oh, this feels good. Oh, this is chemistry. Oh yeah, I like this. Your heart is deceiving. Your mind probably just told you that because your feelings were good. Well, guess what? If you really lock the word of God, the truth, not the truth of the world, but the truth of what God says, that is not good. Cheating is not good. And going out and about and sleeping with other people that are not yours, that are not promised to you, that you're not committed to, that is not God's plan for your life. I can tell you that right now. But I can also tell you that even if you've done it, you have been redeemed and you've been forgiven. Maybe not by the person you did it to, but God forgives you and believes better and bigger for you. Now, moving on to the idea of cheating is that there's always 3 truths to the story. And that's in anything. Really, you've got his truth, her truth, and the truth. And as a matchmaker, I say this often. I've had people that I've interviewed, my ex-husband, my ex-wife, it was a, sexless marriage and they never met my needs and yada, yada, yada. Look, I understand that's your perspective of it. I'm sure if I called them right now, they'd have a different perspective of it. And as a third party, I can probably see both sides and maybe even another perspective. So there's always 3 points to this story. And I want to share something with you right now that it's really a deep issue. If you were the cheater, and I'm going to share this, that I cheated on my husband. And I've never shared it in a podcast. As a matter of fact, the last podcast I did before I plugged in my mic, I cried about it. It's ugly, and I hate that I did it. And it was a choice I made that was not right, and it had serious consequences. So if you're teetering on cheating today because it's a teeter, you're like, well, if I did, well, if I didn't, I can tell you there's nothing great that comes of cheating. God is still good, and he's changed my life, and I've made better choices and my life is moving amazing now. But there was a season of heart-wrenching tears, of divorce, of court, of kids going back and forth. I mean, the havoc that it did on my kids was, I do feel guilt for that, which although there's no reason to be guilty, but I do feel that because of my choice. But I can also tell you this, that it was a deeper issue that caused it. So on my part, I knew, and I should have spoken up, and I should have shared. I should have been intimate with my husband at the time and said, hey, this is a need and it's not being met. But I'm going to say this, that if you've been cheated on, you need to be open to receive that. You need to be open to say, could it have been something I could have done better? I could have worked on. I could have been more open to. And I'm not here to give any health advice, any, emotional advice on cheating, but just sharing from my perspective. I can say that if my husband had said, after he found out that I cheated, what did I do, babe? What caused you to have to go to some other man? If he had humbled himself and done that, we maybe could have had a chance to really come back together. But instead, there was a lot of shaming, a lot of guilt thrown at me, and that was not a place for healing, and I will say it's your kindness that will lead someone to repentance. That's how God brings us back. And it didn't go that way. It went super negative. Ego gets in the way. He was hurt. I can see it now because I've been cheated on, and I can see how ugly and horrible it feels to be cheated on. But maybe you need to say, what was my part? My spouse or my partner cheated on me. Is there something I could have done? Maybe there wasn't. Maybe you did everything perfect. But seek some advice and try to find that space where maybe you could have grown. And thank you for listening to that. I hope that in there somebody heard something that is going to change the direction and the path of their relationship, and they will stay together because of it. I just want to bring up one other point about cheating, and that's porn. Because porn is cheating. Porn is watching sex, doing sex with someone that is not a part of your intimate life, that you've not committed to. I always say, if that was your daughter on the screen, would you still be watching it? Porn sensationalizes sex. It creates a false identification with love. It is truly selfish when you watch porn. It causes addiction that often leads to betrayal. It creates dissatisfaction in what you currently have, maybe what he or she looks like, maybe what he or she is willing to do. I can't say enough about the epic problem of porn and its accessibility right now. And if that is you, there is help. You can Google, help with my porn addiction. Male and female, I know they're both on it. I can tell you that my husband and I are anti-porn. We don't need it. We have a connection that's just the two of us. I don't need third parties. And when that idea comes, or hey, maybe you could be better if you looked at something else or got an idea, I don't believe in that. So take that for a grain of salt, but I can tell you this, porn isn't helping relationships. And if it's not helping, it's hurting. So let's move into dating. And now let's say you're divorced, or you just broke up, or you've been broken up for a while, either because you cheated and got caught, or you were with someone who cheated. First, let's talk about if you were the cheater. The question is, do you tell someone you're dating that you were the cheater? Now, I was the cheater in this case, and I used to tell people right away. And finally, a client of mine said, and this is when I was a trainer, a fitness trainer, not matchmaking. He said, Katy, that's not even the person that you are. He said, you cheated because your needs weren't being met. And not that cheating was right, but it's not really who you are. Because if your needs are met, then you're not going to go cheat. So stop telling people you're a cheater. And he was right. I'm not a cheater. Everything about it, the ethics and the basics, I don't agree with. But I didn't learn how to communicate. So it's not who my character was. It was a choice that I made, but it's still not who I truly was. And I've learned from that since then. And I do appreciate him calling me out on that during one of our fitness training sessions. I'm sure we were pumping iron together. And I really think it's important that you don't share right away, because who you are now and who you want to become, hopefully you made that choice to become better, doesn't have to be the title that you're a cheater. I have a client right now, he did cheat on his wife, and he was adamant about telling women right away what he did. And it's hard because a lot of women are coming out of a cheating husband, so they're not real receptive to it, or like, okay, great, I'm going to give this guy a chance. Here's my thought on this. Give yourself 3 dates with somebody. At least get to know them for 3 dates. Let them get to know you for 3 dates. And if you feel like it's going to go somewhere, because you don't need to be traumatizing every woman you have a date with, because then she's going to think every guy's a cheater, right? This quick stereotypes, quick throw on of oh, look at now, every guy's a cheater. It's not true. And give somebody a chance to get to know you and who this new person is that's not going to be the cheater. So here's my suggestion: at least 3 dates to get to know somebody. If after that you'd like to say that, yes, I have cheated in the past, I say don't go into details unless you really want to give the graphics, but that could go bad. And also, you want to do it before you make a commitment to be with someone. So they do need to know that part of your history. They don't need to know the details. But what I am going to say, moving on, if you are the person who is dating a cheater, if you've decided to say, hey, you seem like a person of character and moral upstanding, and that you've made a choice to not do it again, and I'm going to date you, you're going to need to honor that person in unique ways. You're going to need to do more things to make sure that they feel safe, that you're not going to be doing that again. So for example, even when my husband and I were dating, we made a conscious effort to always uphold each other's boundary by whenever we'd go out, and we dated long distance, this is podcast 33, we always take a picture who we're with, and we still do it to this day. We take a picture of whoever we're with, we send it to the other one. Plus it encourages us of who, our lives together, even when we're apart. And then at the end of the night, whenever one person is traveling, we make a video of the room, of us in the room, probably half asleep. I usually have all my oils on. It's not always my prettiest, but we do that to keep our hearts connected and to just make sure everybody feels safe in that relationship. And you could say, well, Katy, that's controlling. I don't care. I'll tell you what, again, if it's not a bad choice, it's a good choice. And we are doing that just for the safety and the security of our marriage and our relationship. The other thing is you're going to just really need to make sure that you can communicate moments when you are insecure, when that person's actions have made you feel insecure. I've had to do that now with communicating to my husband. I've really thought through the reasons why I cheated. And I know it's because I just wanted to feel wanted, and I wasn't speaking up to that. I wasn't giving my husband examples of how he could do that. He didn't even know. So how's he supposed to fix anything if he didn't know? Men surely don't read minds. Actually, nobody does. But it was really important. And these are the 5 things that you should be looking for. So if someone is cheated, or if you're dating a past cheater, you want to be watching their character. And here are 5 things that you need to be looking for. And these were all definitely things that I learned and grew and did better at because of my mistake and my choice. And again, that's the beauty that can be made from the ashes. So number 1, is this person a good communicator? I mean, if they're out and about and you don't hear from them for 24 hours, that's not a good communicator. So if you're in a deep relationship with someone and they're not texting you, they're not checking in, they are keeping you wondering, where are they? Probably not someone that you feel safe with, not a good communicator. They also need to be good sharers. So they need to be able to tell their story, talk about why they did what they did eventually with somebody who's safe. So that could be a therapist. They might not want to share with you because you are their partner. They don't want to put anything, a little scared thought in there. So have them speak with a therapist, with another man. Here's my number 2. They need to be accountable. Right? We should all be accountable to someone. Get in a men's group, get with a therapist where they can share these things. So you want someone who's a good communicator and will share to somebody who they can be accountable with. Number 3, they need to be willing to heal. So there's a lot of people who talk the talk, oh, Katy, I've done the work, but you can tell when somebody's healed because they're not disturbed with sharing these things. They're not afraid to make you feel safe. If someone says, oh, Katy, you're just being controlling, or you want me to do what? I have to text you when I land. I have to show you my room. I have to make a video at night. If someone doesn't want to do that, they're not really committed to growth or to healing. And those are my 4 and 5. Committed to growth means that you are doing the work by reading books, understanding your deeper issues, and you're able to say, this is my number 5, you're able to say, hey, and this kind of incorporates 1 through 4, and this is something I've learned. You have to be someone who can tell this to their partner, and this would be an example from my life. I would have to say to my husband now that, hey, babe, when you aren't able to pay attention to me in the way that I need, I have a tendency to want to get attention from other men. Okay? I'm being fully transparent and honest. I've looked in my past and figured out why I did what I did. I am sharing with my husband. I'm asking for accountability. And now I'm going to do this because I'm committed to our growth. I'm going to say, so maybe we can try this idea that you take me out once a week. I put on heels for you. I dress up and I feel attractive because I will feel wanted. Right? So I'm already creating a plan of action for myself so that I don't go back to that poor choice, so that I do feel wanted and needed, and that he now knows how he can meet that need in me. And those are ways that you can literally make a better choice to not do cheating again. And I believe in you. I don't believe that was God's best for you. And I believe he always has more for you. He's got better for you. And when you find the right partner, their grace and space is going to give you the opportunity to do that. Guys, if you would like a little bit more help in that, you can always email me at datingwithkaty@gmail.com. I answer all of my emails. I seriously care about you. I hope you've heard that. I've shared some personal deep stuff. I do not share it quickly and lightly. And I ask that you'd be respectful in the comments. But I do hope even more that this has challenged you to either believe better for yourself, to release someone of their cheating. It's always a deeper issue. And I'm going to say this to finalize today. The deeper issue is finding God, and that's through a relationship with Jesus. So if you want to hear more about that, come to church with me or just email me at datingwithkaty@gmail.com. Guys, I believe in you. I believe there are more 20%ers out there. Thank you for listening. Make sure you share this. And until next week, I hope that you get confident, be successful, and just go have some fun dating. All right. Until next time.